Simone was already one of the most decorated gymnasts of all time, breaking all kinds of records. Most would think she had nothing left to prove. And yet Simone felt the crushing weight of expectations on her to be too much. Others can feel this way in their career or personal lives without being Olympic gymnasts. Their self-esteem and value are tied to their accomplishments and factors outside of themselves, so they'll never feel like they're enough. Another term for this is imposter syndrome. Welcome to Self-Heal with Dr. Irene, where you'll learn powerful tools from world-class experts to heal yourself in all areas of your life. Your health and energy, relationships, career, finances, and more. Welcome to Self-Heal with Dr. Irene. And today I'm going to discuss a theme very near and dear to my heart, and that is imposter syndrome. And then I'm going to take you through a very special exercise to help you self-heal from imposter syndrome so that you can shift from stress to success in all areas of your life. Now, to get started, let me ask you a question. Have you, a family member or coworker, ever frozen at a crucial moment in your career? Maybe it was stage fright before a big presentation, a panic attack before an interview for your dream position, or maybe blanking on that big exam. If you have, or if they have, you're not alone. In fact, you're in great company, Olympic quality company, in fact. My heart goes out to Simone Biles and to all athletes who train so hard and long for a brief moment of glory at the epitome of their sport. Now, there are massive expectations that they and others put on themselves. And whether they fail to make the podium at all, or they win only a bronze or silver medal, they can still feel like failures. It reminds me of a client who was ranked in the top 10 of all gymnasts in the world. She even had a couple gymnastics moves named after her. But because she hadn't claimed that elusive prize of an Olympic gold medal, she felt like a failure, and it was threatening to ruin her life. Now, can you relate? Have you achieved some success in your career and maybe not the massive success that others have? Maybe their income is bigger, their following is bigger, or they have the title you want. Maybe you're feeling like the proverbial wallflower rather than the popular kid. The challenge is that even those who win the coveted gold medals or are the elite performers in your industry can also feel empty and unfulfilled. The richest person can feel like their house isn't big enough, their net worth isn't big enough, that they don't have enough cars. Why? Because their entire identity has been so tied up around achieving a specific goal that there's a feeling of letdown and what now afterward. They may even feel like they're still failures, that they're not enough. After Simone Biles pulled out of most of her Olympic events because of an attack of the twisties, Simone tweeted that the outpouring of love and support I've received has made me realize I'm more than my accomplishments and gymnastics, which I never truly believed before. Now, while it's wonderful that she recognized this, Simone was already one of the most decorated gymnasts of all time, breaking all kinds of records. Most would think she had nothing left to prove. And yet Simone felt the crushing weight of expectations on her to be too much. Others can feel this way in their career or personal lives without being Olympic gymnasts. Their self-esteem and value are tied to their accomplishments and factors outside of themselves, so they'll never feel like they're enough. Another term for this is imposter syndrome. And imposter syndrome is a big buzzword right now, and there are multiple layers to it. The first and most common layer of imposter syndrome that people talk about is that when you create a vision or goal, by definition, it's outside of your current identity and comfort zone. So you may actually self-sabotage at this level because you're afraid and you don't feel ready deep down inside. It's like being that player on the bench in a basketball game, and you really, really, really want the coach to put you in the game. And when they finally do, you freeze. You may actually be energetically saying to the universe, "Don't throw the ball to me. I'm not ready." And this is a normal part of what I call the cycle of growth and performance, where you'll always, always feel incompetent until you push through to your new identity, your new comfort zone, and your new level of competence. Now, there's an even deeper level to imposter syndrome that most people don't address, where you truly don't believe in or value yourself. You don't feel you're worthy of success, love, happiness, or health because you are a bad person. Now, this is different from where you don't feel good enough, which is the more surface level of imposter syndrome, because that has to do with your level of competence. This, think of like an iceberg, the biggest, most dangerous part is submerged under the water where you can't see it. In this case, it's in your unconscious mind. This relates to whether you believe you are a good person at your core. And it usually originates in childhood before the age of reason sets in, usually around, before the age of 7, where somehow you've decided that something was all your fault, that you were a bad girl or a bad boy. It could have been that your parents were fighting over money, or perhaps a family member became seriously ill, for instance. And at that time, you took the responsibility on yourself for making everything right, for making everyone happy, to soothe the waters. And since it's almost impossible for a little child to successfully take on the responsibilities of the world, guess what? You most likely failed. Your inner judge and jury convicted you of that most heinous crime, not being perfect. And because you weren't perfect, you, my friend, were a failure. The shame, the guilt, the feeling of inadequacy, it can be crushing. Now, I want to take a sidestep here for if you're new working with me. And I want to let you in on a little secret of neurophysiology. We like to think that we are thinking beings who happen to feel. And the reality is that we are feeling beings who happen to think. Your unconscious mind that is in control 99% of the time, that little man behind the curtain with his fingers at the controls, has the maturity and the logic skills of a 5-year-old, because all of your thinking happens in your conscious mind, in what's called your prefrontal cortex. your unconscious mind that keeps you breathing and your heart beating and your body temperature exactly where it should be within a very small range, your thirst, your appetite, your sleep wake cycles, your hormones, your neurotransmitters, your pain receptors, your all the sensations that get processed, your memories, all of those are housed in your unconscious mind. And your unconscious mind, this all-powerful being, has the mentality of a 5-year-old. So if you were thinking that I was being Lulu, talking about bad girl, bad boy, and taking on the responsibility of the world, it's because a child at that age is in what's called the theta brainwave state. They just soak everything in. That's how a child can learn multiple languages all at once and make such huge great gains and strides. It's because they are in what's called a hypnotic brainwave state, and everything just gets taken in and taken at face value because there's no logic, no rationale, at least not what we adults consider to be logical. So a young child can be like, oh, mommy is sick. If I were a good girl, mommy wouldn't be sick. That is the twisted logic of that young child. And as an adult, that wounded child is still inside of you. You may be feeling afraid of being exposed as a fraud because at your core, you feel broken. Now, that can trigger a fear of failure and humiliation. So why even try it? It can also lead to massive wear and tear on all levels. It's like pushing a high performance sports car to its limits while riding the brake. Something's gotta give. And it's also a massive energy vampire. I call it like the black hole of your life energy is being sucked down into this, kind of like Harry Potter's Dementors, right? It's like sucking all the life out of you. And it can set you up for what I lovingly call flameout syndrome or catastrophic burnout. I suffered this deeper level of imposter syndrome for years until I realized what was happening. Even as I strove for greater and greater success through my education and career, I felt an invisible weight crushing me that worsened with every new level of success, to the point where I had a massive panic attack and froze when I was asked to speak at one of the biggest brain injury conferences at the time. And so that fear of failure actually becomes, in a twisted way, a fear of success. And more importantly, or specifically, the fear of greater exposure as you become more successful. That, oh, anytime now, someone is going to expose me as a fraud and I'm going to be run out of town, or I'm going to be humiliated and shamed publicly. Kind of like in the olden days where women were made to wear scarlet letters to show that they were such a bad woman. Now, I now recognize that this deep-seated imposter syndrome was one of the biggest contributors to my own flameout syndrome and leading to my catastrophic burnout. So when you're mired in imposter syndrome, it can feel like guilt, unworthiness. You can feel like a lack of initiative, like you just can't get moving. And you may even be wondering, what's wrong with me? Like, why do I procrastinate on this project that's so important to me? Why was I late for the very interview that I needed to do for my dream job, right? There's also a feeling like you are bad to the bone. Like there's a song, Bad to the Bone, right? And that you've done such awful things in your life that you almost don't deserve to live in the extreme, or at the very least, you need to suffer. And in over 25 years of working with clients and helping them shift from stress to success, this has been a huge contributor to clients' physical symptoms like pain, migraines, autoimmune conditions, neurological conditions, so many. And I will happily discuss with you at another time how that's possible. Just remember that little man behind the curtain with his fingers at the control boards of everything, your hormones, your neurotransmitters, your chemical messengers in your body, your breathing, your heart rate, your blood pressure, everything. So yes, your unconscious mind can cause these other conditions. So back to this, how this impacts your imposter syndrome, is that awareness is 80% of the battle and the solution. So hopefully, through me throwing out some examples of whether it's Simone's decision to protect her mental health, and after experiencing the twisties and taking herself out of competition, or my own imposter syndrome that I say I suffered from it for years and years and years. I hope that it's given you something to think about and just go, oh yeah, oh wow, maybe that is me. And today we're going to do a tapping exercise to clear any imposter syndrome and the program that you're not worthy of success. So to get started and get ready, let's quickly ground and center. So if you're listening to just the audio of this, I am going to talk through each point, and in the show notes will be listed a diagram with the tapping points that I use. And you may find that I use different tapping points than may generally be used in what's called emotional freedom technique, because as an acupuncturist, I come at tapping from acupressure, and in traditional Chinese medicine, certain emotions are associated with certain meridians. Okay, so I will describe those for you as I'm going through. Alrighty, let's get started. First, let's quickly ground and center. Just rub your hands together. Just rub your hands together and allow yourself to feel the tingling and the warmth building up. Focus on your hands. And now allow your hands to pull apart gently and slowly, together and apart. And you may feel like there's a ball of energy between your palms. Just notice that as you pull your palms farther apart, rather than the energy and tingling getting less, it actually gets stronger. And that is because that is your life energy. And it is meant to expand out in all directions. And all too often, in a misguided attempt to keep ourselves safe, we play small, and that includes shrinking our energy field together and apart. And you may feel like there's a ball of energy between your palms. Just notice that as you pull your palms farther apart, rather than the energy and tingling getting less, it actually gets stronger. And that is because that is your life energy. And it is meant to expand out in all directions. And all too often, in a misguided attempt to keep ourselves safe, we play small, and that includes shrinking our energy field down almost like shrink wrap around us, which actually makes us more vulnerable. And now that we are grounded and centered, I want you to start by asking the question to yourself: how true does this saying feel? I'm not worthy of success. Allow that to rattle around. And next, let's change it up a bit. I'm a bad person. Just repeat that to yourself. Or how about this one? I need to suffer for doing such bad things. And now rate it on a scale of 0 to 10, just how true these sentences feel to you. 0 being not at all, 10 being like, whoa, oh yeah, that's it. What feelings and emotions come up? Maybe you feel them in your body. An image might have popped into your mind. And now opening your eyes, let's begin tapping on the side of your hand and repeat after me. Even though I'm not worthy of success, I choose to love and accept myself. Even though I'm a bad person, I choose to love and honor myself anyway. Even though I need to suffer for doing such bad things in my life, I choose to forgive myself and anyone else who contributed to this. Eyebrow point. So the easiest way to do this is 3 fingers in between your eyebrows, because that also gets yin tang, which is a very, very powerful point in the center of your forehead. I'm a bad person. Outside of the eye. Do I even deserve to live? Under the eye. Is karma coming back to bite me? Side of the nose in the cleft. This is one of those new points. I must deserve to suffer financially. Under the nose. For everything I've done or not done. Under the mouth. Maybe I'm just not worthy of success, respect, or love. Collarbone point. That's for other good people. Under the arm, right about the bra line for women. No wonder I have no get up and go to reach for success. Top of the head. Because there's no hope for me. Eyebrow point. All this fear that I don't deserve success. Outside of the eye. That I must be a bad person. Under the eye. That's why I'm not successful. Side of the nose. Was I born a bad person? Under the nose. No, no one's born a bad person. Under the mouth. A baby is pure positive love. Collarbone point. So something must have happened to me. Under the arm. For me to be so bad. Top of the head. But am I really so bad? Eyebrow point. What if I'm not as bad as I think I am? Outside of the eye. What if I've been unjustly accused? Under the eye. By myself and maybe others. Side of the nose. Or what if my younger self just shouldered the blame? Under the nose. For something I really couldn't do anything about. Under the mouth. Or for something actually insignificant. Collarbone point. I was a vulnerable child who was powerless in the grand scheme of things. Under the arm. Too young to carry the responsibility for life. Top of the head. So maybe it's time to clear this belief that I'm not a good person. Eyebrow point. And not worthy of success. Side of the eye. clearing this belief that I need to suffer. Under the eye. By my lack of success. Side of the nose. So I'm choosing to release this BS that I'm not worthy of success and love. Under the nose. Choosing to feel at ease. That I am worthy of success. Under the mouth. Choosing to release this shame and feeling unworthy. Collarbone point. Choosing to know I do have what it takes to be a good person and successful too. Under the arm. Choosing to have faith and confidence in my future success. Top of the head. Knowing that I am worthy of love and success in body, mind, and spirit. Take a deep breath in and let it all out. Check back in on the intensity of the former sentences that I'm a bad person or that I need to suffer. And lather, rinse, and repeat with this exercise until you're feeling below a 2 to 3 out of 10. And together, let's eradicate imposter syndrome. Thanks for joining me on Self-Heal with Dr. Irene. Talk to you soon. Thanks for listening to Self-Heal with Dr. Irene. Please head over to iTunes to subscribe and leave a review. By doing so, this will help us reach more people with our message. Be sure to visit www.selfheal.life to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our fantastic bonus content. And keep listening for more insights and tools to empower you to heal yourself and enjoy life to the max.